Hello everybody, Lake Sturgeon Aquariums here today. Today I got a fish video for you guys, a new fish, and it is the Giant Danio. So it's a really cool fish, another really underrated fish. I seem to find the most interest in the most underrated fish in this hobby. So let me tell you guys a little bit about these fish. So I'll start right off with the name, Giant Danio. That name, obviously, you can imagine these guys get a little large. So these guys can get around up to 6 inches sometimes, actually. So definitely not a tiny 20-gallon tank schooler. It's a fish that is going to require quite a bit of space, especially as it gets older. These fish are powerful swimmers, and they are definitely capable of jumping out of an aquarium. So you definitely want to have a lid on your aquarium for sure, and make sure it's tightly fit. These guys are pretty narrow and can fit through tiny cracks. Now, being in the Danio family, as I've mentioned in my previous Danio video, I have a longfin Danio video, and along with their behavior, these guys are also a little bit on the picky side. These guys can be like picking on other fish sides, so they're somewhat bullies occasionally to each other, and any other kind of dither fish you might have swimming around in your aquarium. For my fish, they're with Meg, my colossal parrotfish. They're with assorted rainbow fish of all kinds, and they really only focus on each other. The Giant Danios only bully each other, and it's just the school. I have about 7 of them. I think I have about 8 of them maybe, and they're hard to count. They're hard to film too. This is a hard video to get of all these fish, but these guys definitely will go after each other. There's no damage on anybody. If you notice any like hardcore, like this single fish is causing a problem in said aquarium, then you might want to relocate that fish or bring him back to your pet store. Back when I worked in a pet store, one specific customer brought a Giant Danio in, and it was the biggest bully in his aquarium. Like, that thing just messed up everybody in his tank. So every now and again you can get that serial killer fish. That's with all fish, and in this guy's case it was the Giant Danio. But not all Giant Danios are like that. For the most part, they are an awesome fish and pretty peaceful for the most of the time. Now, these guys are always going to be swimming kind of at the top of your aquarium. These guys are going to be gliding around in the open areas of your aquarium, so you don't want to have a super decorated aquarium where there's not so much open swim space. These guys need an open water area, and that's where they're going to spend a lot of their time, just schooling around and swimming around together, and that's where you get a really nice schooling fish. So if you're looking for a larger schooling fish, this is definitely your fish. When it comes to eating, these guys are not picky at all. They're definitely surface feeders. They smack whatever attacks or lands on the surface, so that's when you can run into some issues of them jumping out of the aquarium. So when you're feeding them, they might get a little too ambitious and torpedo out of the aquarium. But for the most part, as soon as you drop your pellet or your flake on the surface of that aquarium, he is going to, or all of them are going to, just attack the water. It's crazy. These guys go absolutely insane, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So these guys are hardcore fish. These guys can definitely survive ammonia spikes. They can survive a higher nitrate and temperature fluctuations, no problem. These guys are gonna make it totally fine. So these are really hardy fish. So if you just got like a 55-gallon aquarium and just loaded up with Danios, Giant Danios, that tank can go through like a plethora of problems, and the chances are that your aquarium is going to be totally fine. All your fish are going to live through everything, no problem. You lose power, fine, they're going to be okay. The only really thing they'd actually die from is if they torpedoed out of your aquarium and you didn't notice and they were just left on the ground. Another thing that can kill these fish is old age, unfortunately, as with all fish and us. These guys can usually live around 5 to like maybe 8 years, I think. It's always different with lifespans. It all goes into the care of the fish, obviously, and the quality of the fish. But usually, on average, 5 to 6, 7, 8 years is usually what these guys are going to live for. So minimum tank size for these guys, I'd definitely say 55-gallon usually. I mean, you can start them off in a smaller tank when they're a lot smaller, but these guys do grow very quickly, so definitely plan accordingly. Like a nice 55-gallon aquarium with, I don't know, maybe if it was densely planted, if you have a lot of plants in there, I'd aim for like 6 or 7 or so, but you definitely want to push for the bigger schools with these fish, which is why I'd probably even recommend like a 75-gallon or a 90-gallon to have a really big school of these guys. And when I say really big, like 10 to 15 in a size that big, but you definitely want to plant accordingly. And have a lot of densely planted areas in that aquarium just to handle their bio load and to level out the tank. Hope you guys enjoyed this fish. I think it's an absolutely stunning fish that a lot of people do not pay attention to. When you're in the store, they're just a gray fish. It looks like a minnow or something like that. That's not too interesting, but if you look at their little fish tag, or if you just look at them up close, you can see that they have some really nice textures on them. They almost have like a tiger stripe kind of paint job looking thing going on. So I really like these guys, and their behavior is incredible. They add movement to your aquarium. It's not a fish that's just going to hide in a corner and do its thing and just not move at all. This fish is going to be out in the open, schooling around, always creating movement in your aquarium, and it's very relaxing to watch, and they're a lot of fun to learn. And they're a lot of fun to watch and learn their behaviors and stuff like that. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day.